thank you very much for being here.
Of course.
So you are the newly appointed director of the Mahoning Valley Logistics Council. For somebody who isn't aware of what that is or what it's going to be, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the Mahoning Valley Logistics Council, it's kind of an idea taken from what we've seen in other parts of Ohio, in Dayton and Columbus. They formed the logistics councils about 10 years ago. And right now, with the way that the industry is looking in the Youngstown area, we want to capitalize kind of off the momentum that we're seeing in this particular industry. And we thought, it would be a great time to bring all the key players in the industry together to figure out how we could advance different initiatives related to the industry, and get that group together.
So we're talking, stuff out in Lordstown. You've got, TJX Home Goods, the distribution center there. You've got FedEx. You've got Altium now. So we're talking about kind of building that out and supporting those businesses and taking advantage of the opportunities there are to support them and all of the potential jobs that could be involved in that.
Right, and we're lucky to have a major transportation corridor up there with I-80 and I-76.
Right.
Some of the studies that we've seen, that we've gotten, the numbers from Eastgate, it tells us that about 19% of the country's freight goes through that corridor. So it's a prime location for those companies that are already there and new companies that are looking to come in.
I saw that, and that was crazy. That, roughly 20% of all the freight in the country goes through right here through the valley.
Yep,
That's
and
nuts.
You're a day drive from New York and Chicago.
Right.
And you could make multiple daily trips between Cleveland and Pittsburgh from that location. So it's kind of a prime spot for companies that are looking to do, move anything and reach, 60 or so % of the U.S. population within a day.
So what is, what's going on right now as far as getting this up and running, and what's your timeline for getting it going?
Yeah, so right now what we're doing is we're kind of, diagnosing who the key players are, who we want to be involved in this, and basically we want to bring a pretty diverse group together. We don't just want to focus on trucking companies. We don't want to just focus on distribution, although, they are the main aim of the Logistics Council.
Right.
But, we're getting folks who are in the consulting space who, work to design these road projects, bridge projects, stuff like that. We're working with port authorities who are able to help out with, land development. And, if you look to the south, Columbiana Port Authority, they're doing great things down there. They have a major shipping hub, a trimodal hub down there for, moving goods on the Ohio River, and
Right.
a lot of those get moved up here. And we're working with a lot of different other companies, the regional council governments. Like I mentioned before, we are going to have trucking and distribution companies in there as well. We're going to have hopefully folks from the Turnpike involved as well, and different entities like that. So, bringing everyone together, focusing on what kind of infrastructure projects we need to go after,
Right.
focusing on how we educate the future workforce, figuring out what advocacy issues we need to pursue in terms, when we take our drive into Columbus or our fly into DC and, have these meetings with legislators. What are the key issues that the industry around us wants to support? And, like I said, building a workforce that could sustain this industry as we move further into the future.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the workforce then. What is the workforce going to look like? And I guess, what is it going to look like even 5 or 10 years from now that may be different from what people would think of as typical logistics warehouse distribution jobs that they may think of from the past?
Right. So in terms of, what's going on in the warehouse and what's going on in the actual facility, you are seeing a lot more automation than you have in the past. So, maybe, you won't have as many people that need to work in a freezer or anything like that, because you could have machines in there.
Yeah.
So it might not be as labor intensive as it used to be, but
Right.
you're also going to have those, traditional positions that you need, forklift drivers, people to get stuff up and down the racks, load them onto the truck, stuff like that. So those jobs are in high demand right now.
Right.
And if we look at the fleets in terms of, what we need truck driver wise, that area is also in desperate need of workers.
Right.
I believe that the average age of the truck driver right now is, I don't know the exact number, but it's in the 60s for sure. So as soon as that age group starts retiring, you're going to see even more demand for that. So, we have a lot of folks around here between Eastern Gateway, Northeast Ohio Truck Driver Academy. Those folks are, helping people get their CDLs, helping place them into the industry. But we're going to need more if we want this industry to sustain, and if we want to continue bringing distribution companies to the Lordstown area, and pretty much anywhere in the Youngstown area. As long as you're close to a freeway, you have access to 1876 pretty quickly.
I'm assuming that a role that you're going to be playing will also be sort of a convener, so to speak. So I know we've got trucking companies, we've got all these different companies in these different areas of the industry. Is that going to be one of your priorities, to act as a go-between to make sure that a lot of these companies are talking to each other, or that they can speak to each other and bounce ideas off of each other related to what they need and how they could work together?
Right, yeah, and I think that bringing people together is one of the key initiatives of this council, because you got so many different companies that touch so many different parts of the logistics industry throughout the valley that they're so busy that they don't have time to all get in the same room and kind of discuss how we work together to advance this industry, get together and discuss what issues they're facing together. And those kind of conversations are huge. They solve problems. They bring people together to create solutions. They bring business relationships together that otherwise wouldn't have been formed. And just convening those types of meetings is huge.
717 Credit Union. Business services designed to meet your daily needs. Commercial loans, business deposits, merchant and payroll services. 717 Credit Union. It's knowing you were treated right every time.